A realty check this morning as the economy bounces back from the pandemic. Where do mortgage rates stand right now?
Duncan Robertson is with Fairway Mortgage Corporation, joining us now to talk about what's going on. Hello, Duncan. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Always great to be here. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, glad you're back. So, are we seeing a little bit of a cooling off? I keep hearing that from different people, but it still looks pretty crazy out there.
So, yeah, the purchase applications are actually down year over year by about 18%, but you wouldn't think it was for the reasons that a lot of people think it is. Actually, if you think about this, they're having a lot of people who are, building new homes. They're slowing down. Today's homes rely on smart technology, and those chips aren't available. So builders are cutting back. Also, this time of year in Arizona, things usually cool off a little bit anyway. This isn't the time that people move to the valley and fall in love with how hot it is here. So I don't think that it is any kind of indication that this market is going to cool off at all.
So what kind of numbers are we seeing right now when it comes to housing prices? How many homes are still on the market in comparison maybe to like 5-6 months ago?
Inventory is still way down, and it's not expected. Again, we don't see any news on the horizon. But if you take a look at where we were a year ago, we were just coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah. So
of course there was a big rush for people to try and buy homes. So I don't think it's actually cooled off. I just think in comparison, it was it was post-pandemic right out of the gates, and everybody wanted to buy a home.
So, I mean, we're one of the hottest housing markets in the country, and I think a lot of it is because we are the hottest.
The hottest.
Okay,
Yes,
because
sir.
We're a major metro area. We offer a lot of things. We offer good weather and things like that. For the most part, obviously, it's hot right now, but and lower priced homes. Are we going to get to a point where all of a sudden we don't seem like such a bargain? I mean, is that going to have an impact?
We're there, and that's exactly where we're going. So another thing that the pandemic did for the housing market is it took people. As people started working from home in all these big tech companies in Seattle and California. And so then they found out, well, hey, these guys are happy working at home. They're more productive. It costs us less. Let's let them work from wherever they want. So if you're in Seattle, a $400,000 home is a starter home. It's a fixer-upper. It might not be in a great neighborhood. A $400,000 home here is really nice. So they'll come into this market and pay $30,000 over asking, because that home would be $1 million where they're from. So what's happened is the pandemic has just kind of brought the Phoenix market up to playing with the, at an even keel with the market nationally as far as home prices and home values go. Which is great news for people who own a home.
Yeah, that is so true. Can we talk a little bit about the forbearance and those who went into it? How long does that last? Do we have to start paying it? Is it lump sums? When does all that take place?
Okay, good. Yeah, that is coming up soon, depending on when people started that. There's great news about that. So forbearances are definitely down, and foreclosures are down. So that's all really good economic news as everybody gets back to work and so forth. But the people who are still struggling, there are some programs out there designed to help them that may actually reduce their principal and interest payments by as much as 25% if they qualify. So on that end, we're looking really, really good.
Wow.
Okay, speaking of interest, I know you work for a mortgage company, and nobody's got a crystal ball, but we're seeing inflation go up, and so are we going to start seeing interest rates inch up, or what's your feeling over the next 6 months?
Excellent question. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, is supposed to speak today and give his forecast. With the the Delta variant looming, I think they're going to have a lot of reason to kind of keep it steady keel as they have been. So they're going to continue to buy a lot of mortgage-backed securities and keep those rates low. They've been really talking about this inflation that we're seeing being transitory is the stance that the Fed has taken. So only time will tell.
What is your advice, Duncan, if you can, to viewers who may be watching who want to buy a home? They find it so very difficult right now. How long do you think they'll have to wait, or what can they do now to prepare for that?
Well, it's really important to work with a really, really good realtor and a really good lender, of course. You want somebody who really knows the market and knows what it takes to get the job done. Somebody has a reputation that is going to help you, win in a competitive market like this. But don't wait, because we don't see any reason for home prices, obviously, going down any time in the near future. And as interest rates tick up, that can make a home more, more expensive monthly than higher prices do.
You know, I hear stories all the time, and these are from people trying to buy, like, you know, a first home, and they qualify for, say, $300,000.
Yeah.
But then they get there, and then somebody next to them bids $330,000.
Cash
Yeah,
offers.
So, I mean, how do you even combat that? Or you have to just start shopping below what you think you can afford?
Well, what's really important is a lot of times, you know, there is a, you know, if you're savvy about how you structure your mortgage and some different programs, you know, that can be, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I got to come in with 20%. Well, no, you don't. You could come in with a much lower amount down payment and still have some money left over for that variance in the price between where the home appraises and what you need to pay for it. So again, it's about having a, you know, a smart team that you're working with that can, you know, help you win in these very competitive situations.
And maybe even someone who knows a seller, right? Because then they know somebody who wants to sell a home before it's hit the market, and then they hook you two up.
Got an inside job.
It's like a matchmaker.
Right. Yeah. That is an excellent situation if you can find it. For sure.
Yeah. You know, like you said, it's so great if you own a house because you're just sitting there watching it go up, you know, $10,000 a month or something, which is crazy. Yeah, but that's the flip side.
And rent these days, Duncan, if you rent a home, sometimes it's more expensive than if you were paying a mortgage.
For sure, it still is. So it still makes sense to buy a home, even in this market. And with all that equity, instead of buying and ending up making a lateral move, you know, a lot of times you can, you know, refinance, do a cash out refi. That 50 basis point hit that Mark Calabria had imposed on cash out refinances is gone. So is he. Yay. So it's a great time to do a cash out refinance and, you know, and maybe do some upgrades to your house and make it the house that you want instead of having to buy the house you want. But remember that, you know, materials and labor are in high demand and short supply. So you're going to need to be patient with that remodel too.
How's the lumber prices right now? Did those drop?
I think they've come down a little bit. I'm
Just
honestly not expert on that, so I would be that would be conjecture. But I do know that I have a client right now who is remodeling his house. He had done a home equity line of credit to get the money to do it, and it needs to be finished before we can refinance him and pay that off.
Right.
And he's still waiting on materials.
Oh, wow.
So refinancing, really quick question. So let's say that you are, give me a mortgage rate right now that I would have, the very bottom, that would make sense for me to refinance right now.
Well, and you know, that's going to be up to the individual because they're these cookie cutter answers just don't make sense. So if you are somebody who has a lot of, if we could do a cash out refinance and consolidate some debt and save you a lot of money, you might not need to bring your interest rate down in order to save a lot of money monthly. If you're somebody who has a home that's worth a lot of money, then if your rate comes down a little bit, it still moves the needle quite a bit as far as the money goes. But I have borrowers who don't owe very much on their house, and you know, we can refinance them much lower, and they're surprised that doesn't move their, you know, their payment that much. Well, that's because the loan amount's not that high. So there's no real cookie cutter answer. Somebody says, oh, it has to be a point or it has to be this. Again, talk to somebody knowledgeable, a loan officer from Fairway, hopefully. And, you know, and we can really make that crystal clear and run those numbers for you.
Yeah.
Duncan Robertson, Fairway Mortgage Corporation. What's your contact info, Duncan? I appreciate you being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. 480-205-0233. That's my cell phone. Direct to me. Lovely. You know, happy to help anytime with anyone.
All right. Thanks, Duncan. Appreciate it. Thank you. Nice lamp.
Thanks, guys.